everyone. Welcome to Eclectic Palette Studios. I'm Carrie. Today we're going to be trying alcohol ink on a resin canvas, and this has already been painted and resined. I want to go over a few things with you before you resin a canvas because this one is so deep. You want to put some sort of bracing on the backside just so the resin doesn't make your canvas dip in the middle because resin can be a little heavy. And this is how I did it for this piece. You could use cardboard, but I had some of the paint sticks around and I kind of just layered them along the backside, and that gave it enough strength to keep the canvas from dipping. So I went ahead, and this is a 12 by 24 gallery wrapped canvas. I painted it black, then added the resin, and it took about 8 to 10 ounces of resin. I used Let's Resin. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. And if you go on their website, they even have a calculator that will let you know how much resin you'll need. Some of the tools you'll need are 90% isopropyl alcohol that I put in little containers. I also have some blending solution. I think that's you can find that in a variety of different types. I have a pinata white color, and then we're also going to be using ember and crimson colors. I think I also have a pale yellow that I will go ahead and use a little bit. And then I also have a gold alcohol ink that I put in little containers as well. And my idea was I was going to try and do a flame. And to push those alcohol inks, I have a couple different, that's a heat gun and a blow dryer that has a cool setting. But I also have an airbrush that I'll use a little bit to make finer adjustments, along with some obviously gloves to keep the alcohol ink off. And yeah, we'll try to get going on that here shortly, and give that a minute. One thing I also have underneath is a silicone mat, and there you see I have added the alcohol into a smaller bottle. And the way you use alcohol is you need to be able to push it. And to do so, you add alcohol to your surface, and that will help you push the alcohol out and away, and move it around until it dries. Now, you can add more alcohol if needed, if it dries too fast on you. And here I'm going to use white because the reds will not show up on the black surface. I start with a heat gun here, but I felt like the resin was probably starting to uh, get a little warm, and so you'll see that I switch over to the hair dryer because it has a nice little uh, um, attachment to it that made it more condensed and allows me to push that out a little bit more. And it also has a cool setting where this heat gun did not. Um, so you will see me switch over to that shortly. So I'm going to also use some blending solution to help move some of that color around. And I tend to use it a little bit more than the alcohol ink, uh, on the alcohol ink, uh, so that I am pushing that color out. Um, So I'm going to go ahead and play some music while you watch the rest of this. I'll come back a little bit later, but you're going to see me make this into almost like a flame shape before I start adding the crimson and the ember colors. Now the ember's a little orangish, more like a flame color. The crimson's a really dark, rich, almost like maroon color. And then at the very end, we'll go ahead and add some gold. Now, the interesting part to the gold is as you're pushing that around, the gold will separate and follow the alcohol that's underneath of it. It creates a really cool effect. So I'll go ahead and let you watch the rest of this and I'll come back later. Okay, so you'll see here that I'm using a different type of blending brush, and this is basically a cotton top that came with the blending solutions, and just trying to soften out some of those harsh lines and filling in some other spaces. And I will soon go into pouring down that gold alcohol ink, and you'll see that I will push that from side to side. Areas that did not have white and you saw some of that alcohol ink go over into the black sections, you really don't see, so that is fine. And one thing that I did not film for this is finishing this off. So alcohol ink can be a little bit tricky in that it will reactivate if it gets wet and move around on you. So for any alcohol ink project, you do want to cover it. In this instance, I used a UV resistant spray that you can get at Walmart, Home Depot, and that will seal your alcohol inks in. In this case, it was a gloss finish. And then I went ahead and covered the whole painting again in resin. And I used a little bit less because since I had already resined the sides, I really didn't need it to go down the sides. So I believe I used only about 6 to 7 ounces onto the top of this. And at the very end, you'll see the finished result. I thank you very much for joining the channel. And as I mentioned before, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Come back to see my other creations, mostly in fluid acrylic art. Also, check out the original paintings on my Facebook and Instagram channel. And on Facebook, you'll see where I'm at. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so I do a lot of shows around that area. I thank you very much for taking a look at my first attempt at acrylic ink on a canvas, and I will probably do a little bit more of this in the future. So thank you very much for joining again. Have a blessed day and the rest of your week. Bye now.